南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。We pay homage to our respected teacher, the Shakyamuni Buddha. So here comes more beautiful things. Is actually this picture. I love this picture. I think that is the cherry blossom that we have. Yeah, it is a cherry blossom tree that we have, isn't it? Wow. And the bees is taking the nectar, the pollen from the tree. Wow, nice on the TV. Isn't it? Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. It's nicer on the TV than in the book, you know.
Okay. Yes. When I look at this picture, I'm just flooded with feelings of gratitude because it makes me think of harmony and how connected we are. So I see the bee doing the job. I see the flowers doing the job, and it to me is so beautiful, and it just speaks of harmony to me.
Good. Harmony. Yeah. Very good. Nice. Anybody else? Waifun? Yes. You have to unmute you. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I see the bees very hardworking.
Hardworking.
Yes, and they are both benefit with flower and the bees. Bees got honey, and flowers can fertilization.
Yeah, pollinate. They benefit each other. Yeah, yes. Great. Thank you, Waifun. And Nora?
I think of fertility because the bees are making things fertile.
Yeah, fertility, prosperous, right? Yeah, good, wonderful, nice. Anybody else? That's all? Irene, yes.
I'm seeing the picture. I'm wondering why that flower specifically, attract the bee to go in there.
Oh.
And also seeing there's a lot of cause and conditions to make it happen.
Yeah, that's good. It's very nice. Good. Anybody else? Yeah. Versha, yes.
This picture makes me smile a little bit because I love the vegetable garden, but I have a very complicated relationship with bees because I'm allergic to them. Every year I plant lots of flowers to attract them, and yet I'm afraid. So my family laughs at me because they're like, "You're always trying to bring bees in here." So that's my thought.
Yeah, I think Tan Sifu can echo your thoughts too, right? Tan Sifu loves the bees, but she's also allergic to the bees. I mean, not allergic to the bees, but allergic to the bee sting. And she was banned by me to go near bees. Banned permanently. Yes, she can because she had very bad allergic reaction to the bee sting for the last couple of years. And last year it was really, actually, it was last year she went to ER. Oh, the year before. Oh, last year she was banned already. The year before she had to go to ER in the middle of the night because of that allergic reaction by the bee sting. So she was banned. And I'm sure it's a bitter and sweet for you and Tan Sifu when you see the bees flying in the garden, right? Bittersweet. Yeah. I think Tan Sifu can echo your experience very much, Versha. You're two in the same boat. Okay, so anybody else? It's great. I mean, you really touch on quite very important things here. From what I see with this picture is the bee took the nectar or the pollen, and then it helps to fertilize the other, spread, and also pollinate. But the flower remains unchanged and unharmed, right? And the bees took whatever it needs, and the flower gives whatever the bee needs. And it's a win-win situation to the bees and the flowers. Never do any harm to either of the party. So it's a win-win situation here. And that's why I think in the beginning of when we were first here, when we used to have many bees around, our vegetable gardens was really flourishing. And then the bees sort of disappeared, and we reintroduced bees again. But it seems that our bees actually don't last through the winter. This past winter, we lost all our bees. How many hives do we have? 5 hives, yeah. We lost all the 5 hives. Last year, we managed to have one survived, and this year, none survived because of that cold spell of really sub-zero weather for 2 weeks too long, and all our bees were gone. So we need to actually get some new bees again this year. So, but with the bees in the farm, it really flourished. All our guar, like what the guar is, squash, squash and melons and everything just flourish. So this year I'm worried about your guar. No worries, okay. I'm not really worried. I'm thinking about your guar, your squash, your hairy melon, hairy squash, not melon, hairy squash. But anyway, it's actually a very pretty picture on the TV because it's very bright color, but the bees actually stand out very well. It's pretty, nice. Okay, so the passage. Anybody still have anything to share about this picture before we go on to the passage? Everybody is okay? Good. Okay, so here, the passage said, everybody we meet in our life has a reason to appear. And the second passage that comes with it is, none of them intends to hurt us. And I remember when the book was published in 2015, I brought back some of the books. And I think I remember actually ever brought a book to her mom. And her mom comment. Her mom read through it. Her mom comment on this book. She said, if I remember correctly, she said, everything in this book is good, except this one. I don't think it's true, right? Is that what she said, right? Something like that, I remember. She said, no. I think the first passage is okay. Everybody we meet in our life has a reason to appear. I think that's okay. I think that, but the troublesome one is the second one. Is none of them intends to hurt us. I think that's the problematic one, right? Right? Yeah. So, I haven't met Eva's mom, but I remember this vividly for 6 years. And it's true. It's true that we can't agree with that. We can't agree with that, the second passage. But what do you think about this? This whole passage is everybody we meet in our life has a reason to appear, and none of them intends to hurt us. How do you interpret this passage? What is your feeling about this passage? Do you share? Oh, Nora, good.
The first line to me, it's causes and conditions. Like we have the seeds for them to appear, otherwise they wouldn't appear.
Yeah.
And none of them intends to hurt us. Well, it depends on your perception. I mean, if you know, if something can happen to you, and some people would think of, oh well, that really taught me a lesson, and in retrospect, you know, maybe that was, you know, good that happened.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
yeah.
Somebody hurt me, but then I was able to have compassion for other people who had been hurt, or you know, whatever. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
People, they can see the positive in anything that happens.
Great, good, yeah, great, thank you. Anybody else? Pretty quiet. You expect me to talk for the whole hour? Maybe you should do some homework before coming on to Tuesday, so you got something to talk. Versha. Is that Versha? Yeah, okay.
So I actually find the first part of this more difficult to sort of wrap my head around, that everybody has a reason to appear. Or maybe I'm just simply not aware of, you know, what the purpose is for people appearing. But the second one, I think of maybe sometimes when I meet people who I find sort of complicated or difficult to interact with, I wonder about how our past karma is maybe carrying over. And so therefore, I think maybe I have to try and understand this person better, because perhaps in the past I didn't give them that time or energy or effort. Maybe I, for karmic reasons, owe them, or I did bad to them. So I'm trying to understand people who are complicated, sometimes from that point of view.
Mm-hmm. Good. Anybody else? Anybody from the hall? I can give you a mic. No? Quack? What? Ever ask Quack to speak?
I think, in general, to me, is people don't hurt for no reason.
People don't hurt for no reason.
So if the maliciousness is because of defilement or some issue with a person. The nature of each person is supposed to be good.
That's good. Kwok said that the nature of person is supposed to be good, so the maliciousness of that person, particular person, is really because of defilements. Good. Huh? Or ignorance that that make them blind or make them deaf. Anybody else? Actually, this is actually a very rich. You can actually say this is actually a very rich passage. That's actually has a lot of Buddhist teachings in it, of course, and that everybody we meet in our life has a reason to appear. Oh, Tisa and Mali. Okay, Tisa and Mali, you say first before I continue. Yeah.
I was going to say, all of us who are meeting here today, we have some karmic connection. That's why we are all We are from all over the world and we are from all walks of life.
Yeah.
But we have connected here due to karmic connection. And
Yeah.
maybe the people who are hurting others, that's their karma, right?
Yeah.
That's
It's,
that's what I'm reading from this.
yeah. Karma connection. Yeah, good. Yes. So the everybody we meet in our life has a reason to appear. That reason has to be cause and effect. It can't be anything else. Whether it's the cause and effect of past lives or the cause and effect of this life, it has to be some cause and effect. So if you are, if for example, if you are, I counseled somebody last year who lost her son when who was only 19, just went out for a walk in the evening around 9:30 at night, and he was shot. He got killed, 19-year-old in San Francisco. So I counseled the mom for a few times, and the mom always asked the same question. I think you probably could guess what kind of question was that. Why? Why did it happen? Why did it have to happen to me? Why did it have to happen to my son? Why? And so, at that time, of course, it's very difficult to tell her this cause and effect, because it's at times like that you don't really try to explain these kind of things. You try to console them and encourage them to actually do something for the son rather than knowing the reasons why, because really we are just guessing the reasons. We don't actually know the reasons, right? So I counseled her for a few times, and I think it was the last time I saw her on Zoom was the 49th day of her son. And she was sort of numb. She really wasn't as sad and lamented as before, but she was sort of like numb and distant. And she asked me why again. And at that time I told her, well, even though your son wasn't your son, weren't your son, and even though he might not be born in San Francisco, but at that time he will die. He will die. And at that time he will probably bump into these two guys, and he will be killed by these two guys. Whether he was in San Francisco, whether he was your son, it really doesn't matter. But he was your son because of some karmic connection. He was in San Francisco because of some karmic connection. But the strongest karma will play out is he has to die at that time. So of course she didn't believe in that. She never believed. I knew after that because she was referred to me by a social worker in San Francisco, and the social worker got back to me that she never came out of it. Well, she hasn't come out of it at that time still, and she actually drowned herself in playing video games rather than facing the grief and trying to deal with the grief. And I could understand why. But she doesn't want to see it from that point of view. So, but I cannot force it onto anybody. I mean, I can only try to explain it to her. I said that is the really karmic connection, the cause and effect of your son. And of course, it's very difficult for us to accept If it is a happy thing, of course, it's easier to accept. Oh, well, lovely. Well, I have this karmic connection, you know, wonderful, feel elated and happy and pleasure. But if it is sad, it is about separation or losing someone or losing something very precious, then you can't. It's very difficult for one to really accept that point of view, to see it from that point of view. So that is the first reason. And none of them intends to hurt us is what actually Kwok was saying. Really, everybody, the deep down nature of everyone, as the Buddha said, the Buddha nature, or the Chinese Confucius said, you know, and Jito Sing Bun Xin, the beginning of human being is kindness, is wholesomeness. And the Buddha said we all have the same Buddha nature, and the Buddha nature is compassion and wisdom. So the cause and effect of this so-called, we call them enemy, we can call those people enemies, those who are not nice to us, those who we think that they have hurt us, we can call them enemies, so-called enemies. And really, who hurt us? If that person, the innate existence of that person is compassion and wisdom, so who hurt us? We shouldn't ask who hurt us. It's actually what hurt us. It is their craving, it is their anger, it is their ignorance that caused them to behave in such a way. And those behaviors hurt us, or hurt our connections, or hurt our relationship. So it is that their behavior, they cannot control that behavior, or they are not aware of that behavior. And it's that behavior that actually causing all this grievance. And especially if somebody are not walking on the path of sila, morality, or try to develop samadhi, concentration of mind, focus of mind, clarity of mind, then they will never have a wisdom to be able to reflect upon themselves. What is going on with my life? Why am I so unhappy? Why am I causing so much grievance in others and in myself? Why is our relationship so tense? What happens? Then we will come back to reflect upon ourselves. It's really not direct our attention outside to point fingers at others and trying to correct others rather than correcting ourselves, right? So in here, it's basically we're talking about really cause and effect, the karma. So of course we understand karma, and I think all of us here, I think all of you here actually accept this concept of law or concept of cause and effect, right? If you don't accept the concept of cause and effect, you will never want to study and learn the Buddha's teachings, because that is the basic, that is the really very important concept or theory that the Buddha actually talked about, and we can actually see it, vividly seeing it in our whole world, in our environment, in our relationships with people. So in the Buddhist, in the Chinese sayings, is actually is a very, very good saying. It said, 不是不報，只係時辰未到, huh? So it says what? It says the cause and effect. The effect is not here yet. It's not that you don't have to be what should you say? The effect is not here yet. It doesn't mean anything. It's just that the time is not ripened yet. Okay? So if we could actually see through this cause and effect, we would be able to actually provide ourselves a lot of protections, give ourselves a lot of protections. And why? Because we would reflect clearly on our behavior, whether it's verbal, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, and we would understand because of cause and effect. If we do behave in an unwholesome way, what we will reap would be unwholesome consequences or bitter consequences, right? So actually, if we start to understand this law of causation more, it doesn't just give us more understanding, it actually gives us a protection, a shield. And also it gives us a path on how to actually live our life. So, and of course, we have to know about this, the law of cause and effect is there are actually some consequences will appear this lifetime or just right here, okay? And for example, it's actually very commonly seen in prison as people, those guys fight over each other, right? So they are angry, so they hit other inmate or they hit other correctional officer, and the first consequence that they get is to put into the hole, or sentence, added sentences, or go into what you call a segregation, right? So that's the effect right now. And then there's an effect that coming later in life. For example, is okay if we have lied to some people, or if we have tricked others, people might not find out right now, but later on they might find out. They will not be friends with you anymore. Okay, so that is the consequence that comes later. But the most important consequence that comes is the consequence about our rebirth in next life. That is the consequence. So that's why in the Buddha's teachings, many of the ancient teachers said, this is only the flowering consequences. The fruit consequence hasn't come yet. When would the fruit consequence come? It comes after death. That means about the rebirth. Okay? So that is, you can see that there are actually three types of consequences. Not three types of consequences. Consequences can appear in over a span of time, whether it's just right here or later on or after death. Okay? So I just want to give you a very brief recall of the law of causation about this karma thing. So the cause of right now is the seed, that we have some apple seeds here, and then we actually give it the right conditions. With the right conditions, the conditions of the sun, the water, the good soil, and the fertilizer, and we have bees. And because of this, the seeds being the cause, and then we have all these favorable conditions, not just the sun, water, and soil, and fertilizer. It could be many, many other things being the conditions. And only if all those conditions come together at a favorable time, favorable time. Will there be apples? Then there will be apples. That is the consequence. That's the effect. So we can see the seed that we planted this lifetime, we can actually bear those fruits, or those fruits will come this lifetime. Okay, as I said just now, it could appear right now, right here. You hit somebody hit you back. Or you trick somebody, and later on somebody trick you back. Later on, that will be later on. Okay, so the fruits, the apples appear at any time, right now or later on. That's a trick that comes about the late consequence, or the delayed consequence, the consequence that come later, especially after birth, after death, and into the next excuse me, next many lives, is these apples here. They bear a lot of seeds too, right? Right? They do. So they become the seeds of the future consequence. So these apples become the existing seeds again. Okay, so though it is a consequence, the apples are consequence of that seeds in the past. But because we have apples now, and these apples, because of the seeds in there, becomes the seeds for the future. Okay, and so they become the cause of the fruits of the future. Okay, so then with the right conditions, those seeds will bear apples again. Will sprout into a big tree, and then bear apples. So those seeds of the future will bring consequences in the future, right? And those apples appear again. It could be different apples. I mean, it's definitely a different apples, maybe different colors, different taste, or no taste, whatever. But definitely, these apples will have a lot of seeds. And because of the seeds, they are the seeds, the cause of the future again, of the future apple trees. So it goes on. You can see this is a cycle. But you want it to be a vicious cycle, or you want it to be what is the opposite of vicious? It's non-vicious cycle. So we have to find a way to come out of it. You want to say something?
I'm trying to think of the word. Benign? Benevolent?
Benevolent? Benevolent. Yeah, so you can see this all go round and round and round and round. Seed, consequence becomes the seed for the future. And it brings more seeds, and then consequence becomes seeds. So in each stage, actually, the consequence itself are the effects, are the causes of the future. And the causes could bear consequences. You do have something to say.
Because it makes me think of whenever I have friends that ask me about karma.
Yeah.
And actually in the prison as well. Right?
Yeah.
Most of the time you're thinking about everything that happened up until then. So their past, what did I do? How come?
Yeah, right, yeah.
And then it turns into punishment or something like that.
Yeah.
When you look at it this way, then you don't have to only look at the past and see some sort of but it's more about
the
what
future.
you're doing now.
Right, exactly.
Instead of thinking about, because what's the point?
Exactly, yeah. Can you hear what Eva said? Okay, some said yes, some said no. Okay, and Eva said when she looked at this picture, she actually remember, especially in the prison, and these guys always say, "Oh, I must have done something very bad in the past, so that I'm in prison," and blah 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 blah. And what have I done? I must be a bad person, or even some people like the guy, the young guy who was killed, who was shot, and the mom said, "My dad, my if you say that is a cause and effect, so my son definitely has been a very bad person in the past, and I cannot believe that my son was such a bad person, right? And, so bad that he got killed this lifetime." And people and also a lot of times is people trying to go and ask for this psychic people to read about your lives, the past lives, and blah 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 blah, and then can you change your past life? You can't change them anymore. Yeah, what we are right now are the consequences of the past, whether it's this life or many past lives, right? So what we are right now is right here, already happened. The consequences already happened. Its consequences here already. And it was just like this morning when we were about to start chanting, and I said, "Oh, I forgot my mic. I need my mic." So I went to put it on. And Tai Sifu said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah. If I don't use my mic now, it seems like I can't breathe." She said, "Yeah, I don't know why, right?" I said, before I could read one breath, I could read one whole page, and now I can only read 3 lines. And you know what? Tai Sifu was so cute. She said, "Yeah, I wonder why." I said, "Old age." I said to her, "Old age, Tai Sifu." Right? I mean, it's really, when I was younger, I can one breath, I can read 2 pages, or even 2 pages, but at least 1 page, whole page, no problem. Now 3 lines, I almost suffocate. So, and she was so cute. She said, "I don't know why." Old age, that's the consequence of old age, is you are short of breath all the time. So that's the cause and effect. And the cause and effect of the so-called our enemy. Those people who have hurt us. Really, can we call them our enemy? So everything that we actually experience right now, right here, at this moment is what it is. And whatever has happened, that brings to the experience right now, we cannot change them anymore. It's already past. But if we do not like this experience, if we find this experience very unpleasant, we could try our best not to create those conditions that bring on such experience again. For example, if we are sitting, meditating, and if you are actually trying to force yourself into a double lotus, or even half lotus, and you have not learned how to sit full lotus, you have not learned how to sit half lotus, and the legs are very big and fat, and you try to force yourself into that position, you are asking for trouble. Because the conditions are not right for you to sit half lotus or full lotus. But if you say, "Oh, well, you try," and then you try to force yourself, you're creating so much difficulties. But you find, "Oh, I really cannot sit full lotus now or half lotus now, but I could try. I could learn how to stretch more, and I could learn how to do it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes." Then gradually you create those conditions that actually allow you to sit half lotus or full lotus, for a longer period of time. But sometimes, even though you try to stretch, you try to train, you can't sit half lotus, you can't sit full lotus. So what can you do? You just have to accept it the way it is. Of course, that is a personal experience, but when we come to relationship, that's actually quite different, right? So if we do understand, if we do understand this, everything that we actually experience right now are the consequences, and they actually arise because of certain causes, which we might not be able to see those causes. It really doesn't matter, but we know the consequence. And when we understand this, hopefully, we will not be too angry. We will not be too disappointed, or we will not be too sad, because whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, we know that's the fact. But can we actually turn it around? We might not be able to turn it around all the time. Turn the unpleasant situation to a pleasant situation. We may not be able to turn it around all the time, but at least we can turn it around in our mind, right? Our own mind, rather than constantly creating so much difficulties for ourselves. So, no, not yet. So you think, everything is a cause and effect. But I definitely see that some people I know, that they are really not behaving well, but they have a good life, they have a very wealthy life, and whatnot. But you haven't seen their past causes, right? You haven't seen their past causes that actually bring on such consequences. You only see the consequences. You know what I mean, right? And then so do not. That's why do not envy people. Do not jealous, and do not compare yourself, because really, all of us actually carry different bag of karma with different labels, and definitely that labels belong to you. My bag of karma has 6 Yin Kit on it. Your bag of karma has Eva Siduliak on it. And I cannot carry Eva's karma on myself. And she can neither carry my karma. And we cannot exchange our bags. It would be nice if we can, right? I could dump all my bags onto you, and I'll take all your pleasant baggage to me. But sorry, we can't. We can't. So every one of us has a baggage, has a bag with our name on it. This lifetime you may be called Eva Siduliak, but next life it could be Siduliak Eva. Who knows? Right? Who knows? But it really doesn't matter about the next life, but what matters is this lifetime. Okay, so whoever we meet actually have a reason to appear. That's the reason, the cause and effect. Those are the reasons. And none of them intends to hurt us. This is the funny part, which Eva's mom does not agree with. None of them intends to hurt us. So when someone says something or did something that hurts you, we definitely don't like it. We don't like it, and then we don't like that person, or whatever. Right? So I want us to do an exercise, a little exercise. Okay, you can close your eye. You don't have to close your eyes. I just want you to think. Let's spend a few moments thinking about somebody in the past or recently or whatever. Okay, have done something that hurts you. Or they may have taken away your bags of apples. They may have said something nasty to you. They may have done something very bad to you, or they are in their life. They are going through very strange things and they don't see it, and that hurts you. Okay, remember those people, those things. And now I want you to remove all those things. Whatever that they have hurt you, whatever they have said, I want you to remove those things. Once those are removed, think, what is that person like? What is that person like without all these things, without all the things that she or he has said to me, without all the things that he or she has done to me? Just remove those things. What is he like, or what is she like? The next thing is, would you like to make friends with such people? What kind of good qualities this person has that you would like to have? Now the tricky part comes. I want you to put back all those nasty words, all those nasty things back into the scene. What happens to that person? Okay. Exercise finished. Anybody has anything to share on this exercise? I know it's very short, but okay. Is it too difficult or is it too simple? Okay, now, okay, Wai Fun. Yeah.
Sifu, I just think about if my husband blames on me for something. It's just a small thing, okay? But at that moment, I'm very unpresent. But after a few seconds, when I turn my mind, that he is very take care of me, because he concerned if I do it, I will get hurt or harm. So that's why he say that words.
Yeah.
At that moment, I change the view.
Good. So, great, thank you. Wonderful. Catherine Chen?
People,
yes.
Once I take off all this nasty thing from that person,
yeah.
his friend, and even when I later on, when all this dirty thing, nasty thing, angry thing was put back to that person,
yeah.
it seems like she's more likable
Ah, even you put those nasty things back, she's still more likable, right? Ah, good, wonderful, nice, wonderful, good. Anybody else? Titania, good. Yeah, Titania. Unmute yourself. Titania, unmute. Sorry. There you go.
Thank you. I think nasty things are things formulated in our mind. It's our mind perception. So sometimes we might have missed the good side of that person. Those inside.
Yes.
Not exactly inside, but we don't see the person wholesomely.
Yes.
As a person. Because we are blinded by those nasty things.
Exactly.
Sometimes when we put aside those nasty things, then we can see the real person.
Yeah.
So it related back to this phrase, like none of them intends to hurt us. So it might be just our mind perception. So we don't see the real thing yet.
Good.
That's
yeah. Very good. Yeah. Anybody else with that little exercise? How do you feel? Versha, yes.
I think very similar to what Titania said, but for me, I found that I was using labels. So there were words and I was labeling the person when I was frustrated with them. And then when everything was taken away, there was no word, there was no label around the person. They just became a person.
Exactly.
And then when they came back, I put the labels back. So, yeah.
Yeah. So who really hurts you? So who really hurts you? Those labels, aren't they? Yeah. Who really hurts you? Yeah. Anybody else? I think this is a neat exercise. Anybody else? How did you feel just now with that little exercise? You want to say something? Oh, good. Yeah.
Prior to you telling us to try and think back to a person or whatever, I was actually thinking, and I couldn't find anyone that intended to hurt me, because whatever got hurt was my ego. I never felt anyone physically hurting me or verbally hurting me. It was me, the way I perceived it.
Yeah.
So, and then as they were talking and saying enemies, and I thought, I don't know that I would ever use that word to call anyone my enemy, because it's such a strong word.
Yes.
That I don't think, nobody would ever intentionally hurt someone else.
Good.
Something else has influenced them, but not intentionally. No.
Good.
So I would never feel threatened, but the hurt part, no, it's always been my ego. And then the first part when it says people come into my lives, especially here at Poland, maybe because I didn't have a big social group. I don't have tons of friends, and I was more of a loner and a small,
lone wolves.
But when I came to Poland, when I met different people, I've always meet people knowing them as a teacher, because they are going to teach me something about myself that I need to improve on.
Okay,
so,
good.
It's a lot of the people is teaching humility and patience. A huge lesson still. Thank you for the name,
That's a wonderful name, isn't it?
So no, everyone I meet is a teacher, and I never ever think anyone needs to hurt me. It's just me hurting myself because.
Yeah, the ego. Yeah, good. Yancy said here in the Dhamma hall, she said she never think that anybody could be an enemy. She said the word enemy is too strong to call anybody. And she said if there is anything that hurts her, is her own ego is actually hurting her. So nobody intends to hurt her. It's only her ego reacting to whatever that is outside that actually hurts her. And she said because she used to be when she was a householder, a lay person, she's actually, sort of like a lone wolf. When she comes to Poland and actually became ordained here, she started to live in a bigger family. And, she said everybody that come into her life while she was in Poland actually becomes her teacher, teaching her different things. So some teaches her unity, some teaches her patience, which she said is still a big thing for her to learn. That's her name, means patience. Ren means patience. Dou Yan, that means a path of patience and tolerance. Okay, good. Anybody else with that little exercise? Anybody wants to share that little exercise? The feeling about that little exercise? Okay, Laurie?
I think that it was a very powerful exercise because once I pulled everything off that I had piled on top of everybody, I realized that they were just the people that I loved.
Exactly.
It was me that was doing the harm. It was a very powerful moment.
Good.
That realized. So thank you.
Wow, wonderful. That's great. Yeah. So it's a very simple exercise, but it tells us how we actually deal with things, how we actually deal with people all the time. As you said, Laurie, we pile our ideas, we pile our opinions onto people, onto situations, and that hurts us. So next time when you experience something unpleasant with anybody, sit down and do this exercise, and remove all those labels. Don't put them back. Instead, put back compassion, put back metta and karuna, and then you will, you start to dissolve that difficulty. We had a conference call with Mr. T on Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah, on Friday. So he's been transferred to minimum yesterday in Saskatchewan, and he was anxious. Then we were ready to actually meditate with him, and it was before or after that he shared that story. I think it's after.
The officer's class?
Yeah, the three guys.
Oh. Before meditation?
Before meditation? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. He said, because last week we actually told him to practice a lot of metta, right? And he said, yeah, it's a powerful meditation. So, 2 weeks ago. So just this last Friday, he told us. He said, in his range, there were 3 big guys, new guys who came in, big, huge guys, who came in, and then they were bothering a lot of people. They were, bossing people around and taking advantage of the older inmates. And so Mr. T saw that, and one day he came out from his room, and these 3 guys were standing right in front of him. He's not small. Mr. T is not small, but these guys, he could call them big guys, and I think they are bigger than him. So immediately he looked at them, and he recalled, because I was haunting him, I think, he recalled, I have to send them metta. And in his mind, he kept saying, may you be free of enmities, and may you be free of miseries. May you be happy, may you be happy. So he, Wai Fun, Wai Fun mic was on. So he kept saying that, and he did it a few times, and then he turned around and smiled and walked away. And these three guys never came back to his side of the range after that. He said for the whole week, they didn't come. He said, it really works, that metta. So don't put the labels back. Put metta there, okay? So we need to understand from this point of view, we need to understand the law of causation. So if we understand that from that point of view, nobody is our enemy. Nobody is actually has the intention to come and hurt us. What hurt us is their ignorance, their defilements, their craving, their anger. Because when they are angry, when they are ignorant, they are a different person, right? They are different people. They're not the same person. So when you remove all those, they are that original person that you love, that you care, that you find the company to be very pleasant. And when you can start to remove those labels, you can start to see these people do have beautiful qualities in them. It's just that it's being masked by their defilements, by their afflictions. And then they behave because they are defiled at that time. They are ignorant at that time. They are blind at that time. Their karma actually are on display at that time. Okay? So we need to, of course, with day-to-day life, with our relationship with everyone, is actually a very complicated, complicated thing. A lot of times we really cannot see through it, but what we can see through it is see through our own mind. How do we deal with it? Okay, so we need to understand that law of causation, and we want to break the cycle. And in order to break the cycle is we need to stop putting the fingers, pointing fingers at them. Remember, and we need to stop that. And if we could actually stop that, hopefully, we actually delay the reactive process. And if we could start sending them good wishes, and just like water flowing, and instead of throwing fire, we actually throwing love and care. And that will not make the fire burn more. That would actually extinguish the fire. So this is called understand the law of causation, and then we break the cycle of this law, of this cause and effect. And in the Chinese saying, that it's actually a very beautiful saying. It's called a gentleman. Remember, this is not racist, okay? A gentleman, you can call it a gentlewoman, you can call it a gentle person, you can call it a gentle child, it doesn't matter. But it says a gentleman embraces everything with virtues. 君子以厚德載物. So this is actually a very deep teaching in the Chinese Confucius philosophy. And these virtues, what are these virtues? Gratitude is the virtue. Appreciation is a virtue. Honesty is a virtue. Humility is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. Tolerance is a virtue. It's a wonderful virtues. Those you can have an endless list of virtues. If we could actually embrace everything, every person and every experience with our virtues, then we will not add fire. We will not add gasoline. We can always make this world a better world if we actually cultivate and develop these virtues, more and more of these virtues. Finish. You have anything to say? This is not a Dhamma talk. It's the interaction. Everybody we meet in our life has a reason to appear. And none of them intends to hurt us. You can actually share with your mom. You can do the exercise with her. Yeah, do that little exercise with her so that she could actually remove those labels, remove those grudges. Yeah. You have anything to say? Any comment? Yes? Oh. Yanxi actually shared, she said she loves bees. Yeah, she's a bee person. She loves... Yeah, the more she got stung, the more resistant she is. And she said she read something about, oh no, not Versha. She said Versha shook her head. But anyway, she said she read something about in downtown Vancouver, East End, they use bees for those drug addicts as a therapy. And so they got their own hives, and then they can sell the honey, and they can make some money, and it becomes therapeutic. Actually, I find I love bees. I could actually stand in front of the beehive and just watch for hours, because they are a group of really wonderful creatures. I mean, the way that they work together, the way that they communicate with each other is such a wonderful thing to see. I love bees too. I remember when we first have hives, I just looked at them without any gear, and I just there. And then the bees, they just fly around me to go back into the hive, and then fly around me to go and get nectar. They didn't sting me, unless you have big actions, fast and big actions in front of them. But anyway, yeah, but not you. Tan Sifu not go near bees. All right, dedicate our merits then. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the wise words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, practice them, and help themselves to liberate from their own defilements, afflictions, entanglements, and be truly, ultimately free and happy and peaceful.